Columban Fr John Hegerty joined the Columbans at the age of 23 and has been working in Peru since 1971. He returned to Australia in 2021 and is currently living in Melbourne.
Today I want to have a look at chapter 8 of John's Gospel. Here John has Jesus teaching in the temple. And probably the first part of that Gospel is one of the best known parts of the whole Gospel, is when the Pharisees and the scribes bring in a lady caught in adultery simply to trap Jesus. Anyhow, Jesus dismisses the trap and dismisses the lady to go in peace. He doesn't condemn her or anything. And then later on, Jesus says to the watchers, the listeners, if you make my word your home, you will definitely be my disciples. And you will come to know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And it's that last phrase is the one that drew my attention, because back in the 70s, in Chile, the military commander, a fellow called Pinochet, conducted a coup against the president, and it was a bloody coup. And it was a coup full of lies and torture, deaths, disappearances and everything. It was an awful scene. And it would have been about maybe a week to a few days after that occurred that the Chilean bishops returned from a conference of Salem or visitation to Rome, I'm not sure which. And they came out of the airport and formed a line and had a big sheet of paper along the front, and written on it was, "The truth will set us free." It was a very strong statement, and it drew my attention. I remember it very well. It was a bold statement because the atmosphere was very, very tense and very dangerous. And it reminds me again, of course, Pilate's question to Jesus, "What is truth?" And I was trying to think as I was looking at the text, what is truth? I went back to my studies in philosophy, and I didn't come up with a clear answer. And I remember Richard Rohr, in an interview he was asked, what is the basic question you ask when you're presented with a proposal or a work of art or a political decision or the like? What is your basic question? And he said, the first thing I ask is it true? And then of course Jesus himself uses the phrase, I am the way, the truth and the life. And so I was trying to think, what does this truth mean? How can we understand it? And I think, look at Jesus, because he said, I am the way, the truth and the life. And if you are my disciple, you will come to know the truth, and the truth will set you free. So what is it about Jesus that is so true? And I think, or I propose, that he was an authentic person. He was a person who understood or recognized and hugged on to his condition, his life, his identity. Jesus was a Galilean from Nazareth. So he's really starting at the bottom of the pile. But then he also came to realize that he had a mission, and that was to be the Messiah. And also, he grew into appreciation of the unique relationship he had with his Father, with God. And he was able to call God Abba, which means Dad, Papi, Papa, whatever. Yeah, but intimate, near. And I think Jesus was able to do all that because he was true. He was true to himself, true to his situation, his circumstances, and true to his mission, and of course, true to God. And that's the challenge for us. If we can be true to ourselves. Last night, we were sitting at a table having supper, and one of the lads made the comment, after looking around the table, he said, if you don't have some liability, you can't sit at this table. There was one fellow who had his hip done recently, another fellow who is visually impaired, another guy who feels he's losing his memory, and so on. And so each one of us, to be true, have to live with that, but also aware of the possibilities that God and life gives us. And so I think as a sort of a way of looking at this little text in chapter 8 of John is truth is being true to who you are.